to somebody who's less familiar with Chuck Tingle and his whole thing, they could see what he does as a joke, but it's not a joke.
But so far my main reaction is that I want to burn this entire town to the ground. So Bunny, so here's where I'm at so far. I don't want to spoil people. Coming up. I'm about to spoil the hell out of this book.
Good evening, bipeds. I don't know why I just said that. That was the first thing that popped into my mind. So this right here, this is going to be the start of a reading vlog where I read horror books that I have predicted that I will give 5 stars. So these are 3 books. I bought all of these within the last year. Some are new releases and one is not. And then I just never got around to them last year somehow, even though I really wanted to read them. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to read all 3 of these, however long it takes me, in between all of my other books on my official TBR. Don't ask. I mean, I have no idea what's about to happen. These could all be 5s. That would be awesome. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but these are all books that I not only want to be 5 stars, but that I think have a really, really, really good chance from what I've heard about other people's experiences with them. So let me introduce them real quick. It's too dark right now and I just woke up from a 3-hour nap. So I'm probably just gonna veg in front of the TV tonight, but I'm gonna start the first one tomorrow. So I'm not sure which one that's gonna be yet, but here are the 3 books. So we've got Bunny by Mona Awad, LEECH by Hiron Ennes, and Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle. Bunny is probably gonna go last. I'm just gonna tell you that. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. It's probably going last because I think it's gonna take me, it's gonna go one of 2 ways. Either I'm going to absolutely inhale this book, or more likely it's gonna take me a long time to get through it because it's gonna disturb me. And I've only read one other Mona Awad book, All's Well, and that's what it did for me. I didn't even end up rating that book because I just didn't feel like it was for me, but it was really well done. But I've heard that this is her best one and the one that most people like the most. So anyway, but I still think that her writing style is going to be the same. I don't know very many details about this, and hopefully it stays that way. I'm very excited to see what exactly is so weird about this book. Next up is LEECH by Hiron Ennes. I've heard some really weird things about this, and weird horror and weird like historical horror, and like it just, what I've heard, I don't know enough to be able to put together a summary. I just know that there's like science involved and maybe a parasite. I think that it's told by a creature. I don't know, but I've heard it's weird and I've also heard it's great. And then the last one is Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle. I am so excited for this book. I love Chuck Tingle. By the way, this is good timing because the Texas Library Association just disinvited him from being on a panel because he wears a big pink mask in public. And I didn't realize this, like, to somebody who's less familiar with Chuck Tingle and his whole thing, they could see what he does as a joke, but it's not a joke. It's not a joke. He does everything that he does earnestly. You can look it up on Tumblr. He posted a long post to Tumblr explaining why he thinks that they disinvited him and why he's upset about it. And it's a lot of insight into him and his whole thing. Basically, he wears the mask because he's autistic, and it helps him not feel pressure to autistically mask in front of neurotypical people. It helps him to be out in public. It helps him to feel free and to do his thing. And nobody else has ever had a problem with that. He's like the most harmless, gentle, loving soul. And they're like, sorry, you can't come because we think you're weird, basically. Anyway, this is a book about a gay conversion camp. And the main character is a lesbian, a young lesbian. So I don't know. I'm just really excited to see what he can do with her horror because I've only ever read his erotic stuff. He's so interesting to me. Like, knowing that he's in earnest in everything that he does, that he has a sense of humor, but it's like not satire. It's not a joke. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny, but it's not a joke. It's just so interesting to me. I really want to give this 5 stars. Of all of these books, this is the one I want the most to give 5 stars. With that said, I'm going to go maybe bake some cookies. If I do, I'll show them to you. Although now that I think about it, I think I might be out of vegan butter. So I don't think I can do that. But if I do, I'll show them to you. But otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Hi. So it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I don't know why, but I just felt like it was a really good idea to start this right now. So I'm going to start this. And I will update you when I'm far enough in to have thoughts. Hello, good morning. I'm about to hop in the shower, but I wanted to update real quick before I lost my train of thought. And hold on. Me and the girls are having some tea. I am, how many pages? 59 pages into Camp Damascus. I'm liking this. Also, I feel like it's too smart for me. I've read a bunch of interviews with Chuck Tingle about this book, and he tries to say something different in every interview that he gives. So there's a lot to be found out there. And one of the things that he said is that he, like, unlike a lot of people in high school want to think, there are authors apparently who purposefully hide symbols and allusions and stuff for you to dig into thematically in their books. And he's one of them. He straight up says that he does that. There's allusions and references all over the place, and I'm not catching them all. It's fine. I have to live with it. But so far, my main reaction is that I want to burn this entire town to the ground. Main character, her name is Rose, and Rose is 20, which threw me for a bit because she's a senior in high school, and I was like, well, what the heck? What the heck happened? But it turns out she's a member of this religious sect that I would call a cult. They're creepy as shit. She lives in a town, the same town as a gay conversion camp called Camp Damascus that advertises on all of the 4 channels that her family has on their television because the rest of it is secular trash. And so, like, I was under the impression, or at least I assume since it's called Camp Damascus, that it would take place at Camp Damascus. But I'm thinking what's actually going on here is that Rose has already been to Camp Damascus. There's lots of clues. She doesn't, like, she's really naive and she's really literal. She's autistic. So she definitely processes the world differently anyway, but I also think that there's some memory issues and some stuff going on with her. I mean, the scene where she vomited up live damselflies at dinner with her family, and her family, like, didn't blink an eye. I mean, they blinked an eye, but then they were, like, brushing it off. And then there's this whole thing at the beginning where she remembers having a bedroom door just recently, and her family is like, what are you talking about? There's never been a door. And then, like, she looks at is it the lintel on the door? And it's all dry paint, and there's no holes where screws were. So some is going on. It's just weird. I think whatever's happened has already happened to her, and she's got to discover it. I think she's already been found out as being gay by her family and sent to Camp Damascus is what happened. And then whatever happened at Camp Damascus, she has forgotten. She's forgotten she's even been there, I think, unless she's repressing it. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, I want to burn this whole place to the ground. It's gross. I hate it so much. I hope that's how it ends. I hope it ends in fire. I'm going to go take a shower. I'll be back this afternoon. Hi. So I finished Camp Damascus, but I don't think I'm going to give you guys an update right now because I feel like, I've been trying to work up the energy since yesterday when I finished the book to do an update and pull some thoughts together. I will tell you, I didn't give it 5 stars. So strike one, but I don't know why I feel so bad. I just feel bad and I don't want to talk. I'm talking right now, but I'm not talking about anything of substance. I'm just complaining, and that's way easier to do. In case you're wondering why my mouth is moving and sounds are coming out. Sometimes, though, you just feel like butt. And it's not even 8 o'clock, and I'm going to go get ready for bed and go to bed because it's just one of those days. So I promise that I will check in tomorrow about Camp Damascus, and also I'm starting my next book. Hello, it's Saturday. Not gonna tell you what date, because the amount of time it's taken me to get through this vlog is shameful. I have been watching Percy Jackson all day. Percy Jackson and Olympians on Disney Plus, and I've finally beaten back some of my ennui, whatever, enough to be able to feel like I can be on camera again. When I get, like, depressed, I just can't. I don't have the mental energy to, I don't know what it is, okay? But sadly, this is a depressing update because first time and last time I will be talking to you about this book, LEECH, by Hiron Ennes, because I DNF'd it 50 pages in. Okay, so this is a weird one because I wasn't disliking it. I think it's really interesting and it's well written and it's scary and it's freaky, and that's part of the problem. I have to be like in a really great place mentally to read stuff that disturbs me like this on like a visceral level. And when I say visceral, I don't mean like blood and guts. What is happening? I don't mean blood and guts. I mean, it's making me more depressed. It's making me more anxious about the state of the world. Like, if something in this book is making me like feel hopeless. So I was like, I don't want to read this anymore. And I like skipped ahead a little bit, and I didn't like what I saw. I'm not going to get rid of it. This isn't a DNF permanently. This is for now. This is a DNF for now. Because I might come back to it later if I'm in the mood for what I know this is now. And I feel like I can handle it emotionally. Like I'm just in a great place and I want to explore the darkness. Right now, I want to hide from the darkness, and I want to watch a children's show on Disney Plus apparently. So yeah, so this is what's, I'm DNFing. So the opposite of 5 stars, really. Just a staggering success so far this video has been. I mean, I got pretty close to 5 stars with the first book, but this one is just bad predicting. Bad, Ashley. I think what I'm learning about myself is I'm not good at predicting. I'm not good at predicting when something will be 5 stars. I'm really good at predicting when I like something, but I'm not good at saying like, this is a 5 star. This is like special. It always surprises me. Okay. Anyway, I'm done with this now. And now when I'm sufficiently in the mood for the weirdness, I'll start Bunny. But the problem is that I think that's going to be disturbing also, and I need to be in the right mood. So I think what I'm going to do, you saw in a previous clip where I was like, oh yeah, well next up is going to be like, I think maybe I talked about it in a previous clip. Anyway, the plan was to have this up first, this vlog, and then I will have the Alexis Hall catch-up reading vlog up. But I think I'm going to have to swap them because I don't think I'm going to be able to get Bunny done in time, and I need to get working on that because I need it to be done by the 13th so I can edit it and get it up on the 14th. So I think what we're doing is moving on from this project for now. I'm going to keep this. It's going to go back on my TBR shelf. If I still haven't read it in like a year, I'll probably just get rid of it. But I don't want to give up on it right now because I was liking it. It was interesting, but it's not mixing with the delicate instrument of disgusting ooziness that is my brain. So I'm going to go finish Percy Jackson. One of my Goodread friends, Sharon, told me that Lance Reddick plays Zeus, and I'd been putting off watching it, but I just suddenly had the need to watch Lance Reddick play Zeus because he died last year, and also I love him because he was in The Wire, which I only got a season into because it was too much for me. But I really love him in Fringe, which is an amazing show that was way ahead of its time, by the way, because it was all about like the multiverse and parallel universes and characters meeting each other. And nobody watched it when it was on except for me. I was the only one. Just kidding. I know there was dozens of us. But I'm just telling you all right now, if you haven't watched Fringe, that you should get on that. And also I'm having a Joshua Jackson craving because I'm listening to Canadian Boyfriend right now, and he does the audio. And also he's in Fringe, and now I need to go watch Fringe because of Lance Reddick and Philip Broyles and how sad that is. But also Joshua Jackson is yummy. So anyway, this is a stupid update, and I'm going to go now. Next time you see me is probably in a couple of weeks when I'm feeling up to picking up Bunny. Okay, bye. Hello. I didn't think this through. So what's happening is that my phone is charging, and I don't, I'm going to squat down, and I don't want to wait anymore for it to finish charging before I film this clip and get going because it's happening. I'm finally reading Bunny. It is March 30th right now. So I think the last time I checked in with you guys was like in January when I finished the last book for this vlog. So it's 2 things. I've been really busy. And the second thing though is that I've been putting this off. It has absolutely been something that I'm like, I think I'm going to like it, but what if I don't? And also, even if I do like it, I feel like it's going to be one of those books that is going to try me.
You know, it's gonna try me in some sort of way. I got my tabs ready to go. I've got a pen if I feel like talking back to the book, and I'm gonna go. Check in once I've gotten something to react to. Hello, I'm house sitting for Lindsay. Baby Cat and I are gonna give you an update on the first 53 pages of Bunny. Kona's here too. Say hi, Kona. Oh, now she's gonna try to jump on me. She's very large. Let's make sure that Baby Cat is in there. Baby, come here. Okay. Oh, hey. I don't want to French kiss you, Kona. Kona! This dog loves me. Sit. Good girl. I'll rub your head. Okay. So, Bunny. So, here's where I'm at so far. I don't want to spoil people. Kona! Stop it! You're too big! And Baby still hasn't. So, basically, Bunny is about a girl named Samantha, young woman. She's in her early 20s, who is going to an Ivy League school called Warren. Is it Warren University? I can't remember. You know, like Bunny, Warren, like bunnies live in Warrens, get it? Sorry, I just had Thai food and the mango sticky rice is sticking. She's doing a creative writing program, a master's. She had a pretty bad first year. She was lonely a lot, and the 4 girls that are in her writing workshop with her are the bunnies. And she calls them that because they call each other Bunny. Hi, Bunny. I love you, Bunny. Hey, Bunny. Goodbye, Bunny. Kind of thing, even though they have real names. But they're not a normal clique. They're very strange. And so she's very lonely, and she finally meets somebody, and I think it's implying that they're dating, but I'm not quite sure. Definitely more than just a casual friendship that Samantha has with Ava is her name. And Ava really is alternative and really does not approve of Samantha, right, baby? Samantha hanging out with the bunnies, because on the back to school whatever they're sitting there. Samantha invited Ava, and they're sitting in the corner being antisocial. Ava laughs at something the bunnies say because they're acting really weird, and the bunnies look over and wave hi like that, and they mouth it to Heather. Sorry, her middle name's Heather. Samantha has this like urge, and she waves back really enthusiastically and says hi. And then the next day she's invited to something called a smut salon, and that's where I'm at. I think what's going to happen is that the bunnies they're not just weird people. I think that they're into something super weird. I think it's going to get a little culty. Not sure exactly like what the point of all of this is. Yeah, that's where I'm at. So far, like, I don't want to jinx it. Baby, can I knock on your head? Come here. Knock. I'm knocking on wood. It has 5-star energy. Will I have a 5-star in this 5-star predictions video? I was kind of thinking that I probably wouldn't, and that's par for the course, but it would be cool if we did. I don't know. If it stays as readable as it is right now and it doesn't make me want to hide under my blankets, which sometimes happens with weird horror. Like, I'm also reading The Center right now by Aisha Manazir Siddiqui, is her name. I was like rolling right along halfway through the book. Okay, Kona, I'll let you out in a second. And then a character did something so embarrassing, where she was about to do something so embarrassing, and I had to turn off my audiobook, and I have not picked it up in days because I was like, I can't bear it. Anyway, if this book starts doing that, then we're gonna have trouble. But if it stays as readable as it is right now, and I can stay at an emotional remove from it, then I think we'll be okay. Anyway, what do you think, baby? Okay, succinct. I'm gonna go. Hello. So I finished part 1 of this book. You see I'm tabbing it, and I am writing in it. I'm annotating. So far, so good. I'm liking it. It's very easy to read. It's wild. It's not as weird as people have said it is, but I think that's just because I read weird books sometimes, and I have a weird imagination, so I'm like, yeah, this makes sense, which is a little bit concerning, but it's fine. It's fine. Hold on. Lily moved, so I'm gonna move. I did make a mistake though. I went online to see what people were saying about the book, and I already have an interpretation of what's going on. There are people who are wrong on the internet. If you're one of these people who've read this book and you think, I'm not going to say what else is going on, but she's not schizophrenic. She's not. This is not
a Fight Club, nothing is real in her head situation. Okay, that's not what's going on. Mona Awad is not that kind of writer. That is lazy. Any book that ends with it was all in her head, I write off, because that's lazy. I mean, it's not even creative at this point. Like, and also there would be no point to that. Like, what's the point of the book if that's the ending? This is very clearly a book about, an unhinged book about the creative process, specifically writing. And also it's a character story about this person, about Samantha. Ava is her friend, who is lonely and can't find her place in the world. And that's why she's so into her imagination. And I got spoiled a little, and everything that I got spoiled for just only has strengthened my opinions. So anyway, I won't go any further into that than to say, like, if that's your interpretation of this book, power to you, but I think you're wrong. You're dead wrong. This is it's a book about a writing workshop. She's in school for writing. It is not, it's a book, it's a metaphor. This whole thing is a metaphor. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to get into arguments with people online. That's what's going to happen. Like, anyone in Goodreads has written reviews saying, I don't like this book because it's a poor representation of schizophrenia. I'm just going to have to, it's not. It's not. You read it wrong. Sorry. I know we're not supposed to say people read things wrong, but sometimes they do. I have to go get ready because it's Easter and my mom is coming to town and we're going to her best friend's house for Easter lunch. So I have to get ready and stuff. And I made myself mad. I'm just mad inside my head. I'm going to keep reading also, and I'll check in later. I don't know what I'm going to say though. Clearly it's just going to get crazier and wilder and more unhinged as it goes, and I'm not going to be able to say anything because this isn't a spoiler vlog. My odds that this is going to be a 5-star are about the same. This is still giving 5-star energy, and I'm liking it a lot more than the other book I've read from Mona Awad, which was All's Well. Just wasn't my thing. But she's clearly a very smart writer, and she's writing on levels that are very deliberate but also kind of instinctual, which I enjoy, which relates to this and her main character. So anyway, I'm gonna go. Maybe I'll have a spoiler section at the end. Okay, we'll see. It's the next weekend. I'm finishing this book now. I'm not leaving this couch. And Lily's right there to stop me if I need her to. I'm not leaving this couch until I finish. I'm on page 239. So I have I don't know, 70 pages left, 60 pages left, something like that. I should get through it real fast. I'm very hungry though, but no. I can eat when I finish. Hello. So it's time. It is time for me to tell you my final thoughts on Bunny and to wrap up the other 2 books. So this book, I think it's 5 stars. So just so you don't come at me and be like, you just gave it 5 stars because you wanted a 5-star in this video. No, that's not how it works. So you can't see, but my phone is actually propped up on my laptop and I have my CAW pile out. So we are going to go through my CAW pile together. You will see live me verifying that this is a 5-star, or maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. So the first one for CAW pile is C for Characters. So this is not a character book in the sense that a lot of the characters in it are sort of caricatures. They aren't meant to be fully fleshed out people. That's the point. But the main character, whose name is Samantha, she is pretty fully fleshed out. The whole book is an emotional journey from her being lost and lonely and falling into, a smaller cult within what I think the author is trying to say is a larger cult of what can be academic creative writing. But that's for another discussion. So I think in that sense, it did what it needed to do. I didn't love anyone though, so I can't give it a 10, but I think I'm going to give it a 9 because Samantha was perfect and the other characters were amusing. I know some people don't like Samantha, but I liked her. And no, she is not insane. This is not a book about a woman with schizophrenia. I can confirm that now. It is about a book about a woman with a magical imagination who relies on her imagination too much, and as a result, she is very lonely. because she tries to fix her loneliness with her imagination instead of going out into the real world, even though she has a gift. Yeah, I could talk forever at this book. This is why I'm saying I think it's a 5. Okay, so we've given it a 9. And next is Atmosphere. I'm going to give that a 9 also, just because what my perfect 10 of a book in terms of atmosphere involves a lot of description of the setting and it being like me feeling like I'm actually there. And in a sense, I sort of did, but a lot of the point of this book is that this is like a white person elite haven in the middle of crushing poverty. So, and because the main character at points is in with the bunnies and they are actively ignoring or denigrating everyone who is outside of their little bubble, we don't get much sense for anything that's going on outside of their insular little world. So not a 10, but I am going to give it a 9 because I was in it. I was in this book when I was reading it. One of the reasons I couldn't put it down, when I usually don't feel that way about literary fiction. Okay, so the writing style, I'm going to give that a 10. Because it is, as I just said, incredibly difficult for me to fall headfirst into a literary fiction novel, no matter the genre. So if you make me forget that I'm reading for even like a millisecond in a literary fiction book, you've done your job. And this book, pretty much the whole time, I was in it. And the only time I wasn't is because when the book would say something and it would strike my brain the right way. And I would say, oh, this is what's going on, and I'd have to write a note. So then, but literally other than that, I was like in it. I was in this book. Okay, plot. Okay, so the plot here, not to spoil anything, is her last year of her master's in creative writing, her MFA at Warren. Still don't know if it's Warren College or Warren, whatever. At the beginning, she has what she feels like is an ideal setup, but still feels lonely and she doesn't know why. And then she gets sucked into something to try to alleviate that loneliness. And you know what? That's still her character arc. The plot I cannot talk about. Actually, let's do spoiler section. Click away. I'm about to spoil the hell out of this book. If you don't want to know what the unhinged plot of this book is about, don't listen for the next like 2 minutes or so. I will put spoiler tags up here. When they go away, you're safe. Okay, so this book is about a girl who is a writer whose creative powers have become so intense that she can create people from her imagination out of animals. And what the bunnies do is that they show her that she can do this in a sense, but she does it before she even meets them. So she has this best friend named Ava. This whole book is like a love letter to their friendship, basically. So at the end, when she finds out that she created Ava to be her ideal soulmate out of a swan in a pond that she saw. Like 1 minute there's a swan in the pond, the next Ava is sitting next to her asking if she wants a smoke. And they're best friends for life. She gets so much solace out of this friendship, but at the end she realizes in the end, even though she loved Ava, Ava was just her. Ava was just a reflection of her wants and desires, and she wasn't real. So the whole plot of this book is that the bunnies sort of wrap her into their little cult because she is still lonely even though she has this great friend, and it's because her friend isn't real. So the bunnies, which are this group of girls, but they are essentially a critique of the lack of imagination that a lot of writers have in just copying each other, cloning each other's plots, and being very surface level about things, and constantly aping each other's phrases without actually having any meaning beneath any of this. And the way that Mona Awad metaphorizes this is that the bunnies have taken to having these nights called smut salons, and during smut salon, they create boys from bunnies. And it is vile. Like, they basically explode the bunnies and they sit in a circle and they do this like weird thing, and then a boy in another room comes out, but he's always messed up. Like, he's got wrong lips, or he can't talk, or he's very dumb, and none of them have penises and none of them have hands, and they're just very flawed, and they're not real. They're cardboard people. And that is very obviously a metaphor for the writing process. And how anyone can tell me this is all about mental illness is beyond me. It's not. So then it takes them a while after they like sort of indoctrinate Samantha into their little cult by making her feel part of something, for them to show her
this process. And then eventually, like, she's Lily. Oh my God, Pippin's head kicking her. She's like not into it. And he's like, you're playing with me, right? Samantha has been completely cut off from Ava. And she almost forgets her identity. So I guess this is where some people get that she's mentally ill. But it's a cult, first of all. And second of all, it's a metaphor. So this isn't real. This is about Samantha losing her identity into this shallow idea of what being a writer is. Trying to fill up a hole of creativity and stuff that comes with reality in real life with this fake saccharine stuff. I did get a little bit uncomfortable at times when Mona Awad was equating signifiers of like really feminine girliness with shallowness. And I feel like she could have done a little more to make it obvious that it's okay to have those things, just not in the way the bunnies had them. Anyway, that's a discussion for another day. But anyway, they finally invite her because Ava gets a hold of her and like sort of knocks her out of it. So they try to pull her back in. And it turns out the reason they invited her into their circle anyway is because Ava showed up at a like start of the school year thing with Samantha, and they saw Ava and they realized immediately what she was, that she was fake. Just like they've been trying to do with their bunnies to make a real person out of these bunnies. Ava did it unconsciously and perfectly. Like, this is a fully realized human being. It has hands. It has sex organs. It can have a relation. You know, it's almost fully real. And so they want her to be part of their little cult so that they can have that too, so that their bunnies can be real. And sure enough, like as soon as Ava comes, the bunny men, they start to turn out less wrong, less oozy, as one of the bunnies says. Yeah. But when they try to let her do it on her own, nothing appears to happen, and they're very upset about it. But it turns out what Ava actually did is there's a stag outside that she saw right before this like session where she's trying to create a man out of a bunny. And instead of creating a man out of a bunny, she creates a man out of this stag. And all of them go outside and they see this dude, and he's like cliche, but he's also like a conglomerate of everything that Ava wants or imagines in a man to a certain extent. I get to that later. And they're like, none of them really catch on that she made him. And even she doesn't catch on until a couple of weeks later when she's next to him and she just has a realization looking into his face like, oh my God, I made you. I know exactly what you're going to say. And then his name is Max. It turns out because Samantha hates the bunnies and everything they stand for, Max starts torturing them and separating them and causing discord. And the whole thing snowballs until the bunnies realize what was being done to them and that Ava and Max know. And then they're like, oh. And then they kill Ava. The bunnies kill Ava. Then there's a confrontation with Samantha and the bunnies when they're like, they confess kind of obliquely, but you get what's going on. The whole thing about like, we knew what you could do. You didn't even know what you could do. How sad for you that you can't even tell reality from imagination and like all this stuff. She ends up setting Max free and he turns back into a stag and runs off after attacking all the bunnies. And then that ends with her graduating. And then there's been this man, this sweet, dorky man. Oh, what's his name? He's a poet and he's awkward as hell. And he's been trying to be her friend the whole time they've been in school. And she just kind of ignores him in favor of her idealized version of a friend or the bunnies. And his name is Jonah. And finally, the book ends with her like making a choice because she sees another swan in the pond. Like she could remake Ava basically, or she could go with Jonah and have a real friend and start living in the real world, presumably, and then writing books and stuff that don't come to life. She chooses Jonah. So that's where the book ends. It is so obviously a metaphor for writing, not mental illness. Okay, I'm done. That's a 10. I just talked myself into it. It's a 10. Okay, sorry for the spoilers, people who didn't get spoiled or listen. If you're not planning on reading the book and you're curious, I don't know if what I just said made any sense at all, but it made sense to me. Hopefully it makes sense to you. Okay, intrigue was a 9.
because I wasn't fully, like, if it would have been at a 10, I would have finished it the first day or second day that I started it, and instead I got a third of the way through the first couple, you know, when I was reading it, and then I stopped for almost a week and finished it. So I feel like that wouldn't have happened if the intrigue was fully there for me. Sometimes intrigue gets interrupted when I'm stressed, though. Like, I have to put a book down and be like, I need time away from you, and I think that's what happened here. Okay, and then logic. Okay, so this is a problem I always run into with this category, is because the book isn't meant to be logical, like not real world logic. People cannot turn bunnies into fake boys who don't have penises. Cults don't work like this. Like, the bunnies are obviously, they're caricaturized, they're enhanced. What's the word I'm looking for? It's purposefully blown out of proportion to prove a point. Like, it's not real. It's in many ways satirical. So, but within the book world, it makes perfect sense. Like, if you follow the logic from, you know, page 1 to page 305, it makes sense within world. And you can sit there and think, because I was doing this whole, like, whenever something weird would pop up, I'd be like, well, what's the point of this? And I could sit there and I could make it fit. But I still can't give it a full 10 because it's not meant to be something that is, like, logical. You know what I mean? It's meant to be felt. So I'm going to say 9. And enjoyment, I'm also going to say 9. It's not my favorite thing I've ever read. For that, I need a little something different. But this was extremely entertaining, so I'm giving it a 9. And that, my friends, is a 5. If we are being completely, what's the word, transparent about it, it's a 9.29 out of 10. So this is a 5-star horror. So at least I got one. And now let's talk. So I read Bunny, obviously. This was a 5. Whoa, I just sent my food flying. So then I read this. It was 4.5. I can't remember for sure. But I liked it a lot, but it didn't quite get there for me. And then this I DNF'd. Might come back to it later. Not unhauling it. I need to be in the right mood, I think. If I try again and still can't get through it, I will unhaul it at that point. But too many people whose opinions I usually trust and agree with have said this was great. And I just think I wasn't in the right place for it. So that is my 5-star horror prediction experiment video. We have 1 that I got right and 2 that I got wrong. This one was so close. This one was absolutely so far off. And that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it this far, leave me a bunny, obviously, or multiple bunnies, 4 bunnies if you want to be real about it. But actually there's more, there's like actual bunnies in here, and then you could maybe think that Samantha is sort of a bunny, whatever. Just leave me a rabbit. Subscribe if you wanna, and please let me know in the comments if you've read any of these, if you disagree with me about anything except everything being in Samantha's head. Feel free to comment if that's what you're going to come and tell me is your interpretation. Please take it to that Reddit thread that I found where they think it's a brilliant interpretation and don't understand how to read things. And then, yeah, so I'm glad that you guys hung out with me for this 2.5-month experiment. I think that's how long it took me. Hopefully I will do this again. I don't know, like if there's other genres you want to see me do, like fantasy 5-star predictions or romance 5-star predictions or anything like that, just let me know. I'm pretty much up for it, whatever. So it's Friday night and I ordered a pizza and my pizza's gonna be here soon. I'm gonna peace out and hope you have a great weekend also. Okay, love you, bye.